David is in Washington, D.C. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show. David, how can we help?
Hi, Dave. It's a extreme pleasure to talk to you.
You too, sir.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you, so I'm a single dad. I'm going to be debt-free at the end of this month of all my commercial debts except my mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering, I was talking to my parents, and they would be okay with me moving in for a couple of years with them to help pay down my mortgage while I rent my condo out, so that I can move on to a bigger home. What would you say about that?
How old are you?
I turned 39 tomorrow.
How many children are you raising?
So I've got a little boy and a little girl. They're 6, 7, and 4.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So are you divorced or what?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And you got full custody?
It's 50-50.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. And what's your household income, sir?
I got an increase this year, so I'm making $80,000 and on top of bonuses.
Okay.
I've also got long-term investment. We get given, stock options, but they don't vest for until 3 years.
Okay. What's your condo worth?
Right now, I'm finding it a little bit above water. It's $147,000.
And what do you owe on it? $147?
Yeah, $147. Right now, I'm just paying $1,100 a month for it.
Okay. Well, you have inexpensive housing as opposed to your income, especially for Washington, D.C. And it's going up in value. You've got a good, safe place to live and have kids, raise kids. You're 39 years old. You make $80,000. The way I answer questions on this show is, what would I do if I were in your shoes? And the thing I always want folks to remember is personal finance it's not just math. It's life. It's got personal in it, okay? And so you kind of have to think about what you would do maybe more than what Dave would do in this situation. I can tell you just the way I'm wired, the chances of me moving back home at 39 years old, short of some kind of major medical problem, is zero.
Okay.
That would affect my self-confidence and my dignity in a way that I couldn't handle. Now, maybe you can, and I'm not saying you're bad if you can, okay? But I don't think you've got a bad situation here.
Right.
And the only reason to do this mathematically would be to increase the velocity at which you're able to build some wealth. That's the only reason to do it. But you have a good job. You've got inexpensive housing. You're stable. You're out of debt. Other than the house, you're doing good. Everything's heading in the right way. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I think you're going to lose something here that the math is not going to reveal. And it's my opinion, and of course you called for my opinion, and I'm an expert on my opinion. So, that's kind of the way. And in a different scenario, I run into the same thing even with like a 23-year-old, which is a different scenario. But my kids are grown adults. 2 of them married, the third one getting ready to get married, and so, but they after college, they might come back home for a little bit to kind of get settled and get the apartment lined up and get some roommates lined up, and it might be a few months, but something happened with my kids that was observable when they were 100% off my payroll, in the sense that they had to pay their light bill or their light went off. They had to go to the grocery store or there was no groceries, and they had to deal with roommate scenarios, and they had to deal with, getting the grass cut or whatever was involved, right, of being on their own. But there's something that happens when you put physical space around you that declares you to be an adult. And does that mean you can't go back home sometimes? Yeah, sometimes it's a good thing. If one of my kids was hurt or, had some kind of major medical issue, and they, move in, my wife take care of one of them for a little while, absolutely we would do that. But we're going to be a safety net at the most, but not a hammock. And I don't think you need a safety net here. Mathematically, you don't. And so is it worth it for the change in your emotional makeup, the regression back towards childhood, move back in your child. I mean, it's weird to go back to my wife's house that she grew up in. We've been married 37 years and sleep in the bed that she slept in when she was a little girl. That's still weird. You know, that's just weird. If that doesn't weird some of you out, you're weird. I mean, that's just, you know, it's kind of strange. And to do, you know, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about here. And so, but could we go move in with her dad? He's 80-something years old if we couldn't eat. And yeah, we could. And we would before we would be homeless or before we would be starving to death, literally. And he would have us. He's a good man, you know. But I gotta tell you, man, it'd be my last choice. It is no reflection on him. It'd just be my last choice. So that's my answer. Yeah, you can do with it what you want. And I'm not going to be mad at you. We'll still be friends either way, okay? I'm not saying you're stupid or you're bad or you're weak or anything like that. I'm just saying this is how I view it. Thanks for the call.